Hello again there, friends and neighbors. Mike Troe for the Saline County League of Women Voters. It's been a while since we sat here and talked. Been having some videos out there for you. Hope you enjoyed them. A lot of them are very, very educational. The thing I do want to come in today, I have to apologize. My voice is a little raspy. I've been very sick. I had pneumonia for the last couple of weeks, and that stuff's going around, and it doesn't play favorites, and it doesn't take captives either. So what we're going to have is we're going to have a short little talk here. As you see, I'm sitting down, so that's why it's short. But we're just going to discuss some things that have been going on, and maybe possibly we can generate some help for our beleaguered legislators who are trying desperately to get things taken care of. Now, before we start, just stop and think, though, of the position that the legislators are in. How do you balance the budget of the state of Kansas? Talking about deficits of what, $500 million this year? $350 million deficit through July? Well, now that's a right now kind of thing. They have to take care of that. And it has to be done right now. They can't put it off. They can't wait. Okay? Well, then you also have problems of 2018 and 2019. How are you going to handle that? Well, you basically come down to two ideas. Either you raise taxes, and seriously, folks, seriously, nobody likes to have their taxes raised. Okay? Second thing you do is you take a look at your budget. Where can we cut? Well, seeing as how education, secondary and upper, combined account for right around 2/3 of the state budget, guess where you start? Well, now neither one of these ideas are very well responded to by people. Nobody likes to have their school aid cut back because they feel like this for the kids. You know, the kids need that. Okay? It could be argued that there is waste and there are ways of cutting back, and I'm sure there is. But overall, we like to have, me as an educator, you know, it's really nice having new stuff, and whenever I need some paper to go and get it, that's really good. Some school districts don't have that. Teachers have to go get their own. That's really nice. And so, you know, USD 305 has done a really good job of laying away money for the future. Well, one of the things that the governor talks about, though, is he's trying to get the school districts to spend that money down. Okay? Okay. One of the major things that they have been doing, though, and we talked about cutting schools. People don't want that. Raising taxes, well, raise their taxes, don't raise my taxes. You know, another way is, and this just came up. This just come up here in the last little bit. They want to balance the state budget, and they can do this by the state makes investments with our money. Well, if they get rid of those investments, they have that money. Okay? And that could really help Kansas in the short term. Another way of doing it, and you've heard about this, is selling the future tobacco settlement. And we'll talk a little more about that here in a little bit. But again, these are one-time steps to filling a budget gap. Okay? It would be a little bit like if you need $1,000 for the rest of this year, and so to make this month's payment, if you will, you go sell your lawnmower. Okay, you know, it's the same kind of thing. Well, can't you do that differently? Can't you do it a little bit better? I do want to introduce you to something. I will be talking from a little e-letter here from Paul Johnson. Paul Johnson is the league's guy in the legislature. He keeps a really close eye on the legislature and keeps us informed. He does a fantastic job about it. He opens up this letter by saying, facing a $350 million deficit through July and a $600 million deficit for 2018. You know, the governor unveiled a budget that does not fix the structural imbalance. So again, our governor is going around and he's like the little Dutch boy trying to stick his finger in the holes, and that doesn't work permanently. You can do it once, maybe twice, but okay. Now if you have one up here, what do? We all know the old cartoon, you know, where the water hits them there and stick their forehead, and they do, and you know what eventually happens. The whole dam collapses. And so how do we keep that from happening? Okay, the ways that are being considered on how to raise the money. We can delay or reduce payments to capers. Okay, now that's a public employees retirement system. All that means is then when the people retire and they go to get their money, the money will have to be paid in. Okay. Mr. Johnson estimates that'll cost the state of Kansas about $6.5 billion over the lifespan of it. You know. Securize the tobacco settlement. Okay, we kind of introduced this a little bit. You've heard a lot about this. It provides $55 million a year, and that money goes to a lot of children's programs around the state of Kansas. Okay, now if you take that money away, then that money that should be used for those children's programs is going to have to come out of the state tax funds. Do you feel safe about that? I don't know. I think I'm not stepping out of line for the league here when I say that we would prefer that if money is earmarked for roads, that it go to roads. If it's earmarked for children, it goes to children. Okay? Not be taken and used for something else. Okay? We need to plan a little better here. We need to plan a little better. But $55 million a year for the next 30 years. It's guaranteed money. It's coming. But he can sell that for a one-time payment of between $530 and $735 million, depending upon the stock market at the time and the markets, how it all works out. Okay, that, again, that's a one-time payment. Boy, it's going to look good this year, But now you don't have that 55 million next year, and you have to come up with it in another way. And they're struggling the way they are, and they're not going to have the tobacco settlement to go out and sell. You know, think about it. Think about it, folks. Just, think about it and let them know. Okay? 3, keep tax on rents and royalties at 2.7%. They was going to lower it to 2.6, but they're going to keep that at 2.7. The LLCs, we've heard a lot about them, about how they're tax-free. Well, they have to pay like $40 a year now to get that license. Well, he's thinking about raising it to $200 a year. So that would be another way. That would bring in a lot of money. The sin taxes, alcohol, tobacco, wants to double those taxes from 8 to 16%. Again, they say that it will net over $52 million a year. Okay, stop, folks. Whenever a government bureaucrat says, I'll put this program through and it's going to get this much money, don't believe him. It's not happening. It just absolutely will not happen, folks. They very rarely meet their goals. Okay? Another way here would be to force all school districts to use a health plan, the same health plan, that is tied to the state employee health plan. What if it doesn't work? I mean, let's be quite honest. What if I'm forced to continue, like under the tenets of the Affordable Health Care Act? What if I have to pay for pregnancies? My wife and I haven't had a child in over 32 years, and we're not going to have one. So why are we paying for it? Okay, so again, kind of mistrust. What you need to do is you need to look at this stuff. You need to study it. Our representatives are back around here every weekend. You see one, go talk to them and find out. Find out exactly what's going on, and let them know. Okay. A couple of the other things here. Some other ways of raising money have been introduced. Industrial hemp. Industrial hemp would be a fantastic way of raising money for the state of Kansas. It's one of those, like crazy glue, 1,001 uses. Well, this is industrial hemp, 1,001 uses, from paper to steel to just, whatever, rope. It has so many ways that it can be used. Legalizing marijuana is also being mentioned. And that brings with it a whole lot of yays and nays from people. A lot of people are going, yeah! And a lot of people, oh no, boy, that would be horrible. And again, do your homework, find out about it, and then go and ask them and let them know your opinion. One of the last things I want to talk about, I said it was going to be short, and it is. One of the last things I want to talk about, folks, is all the cost cutting that is being done. There's not going to be any major roads developed in Kansas for the next 2 years. The money's being shifted elsewhere. They're going to do maintenance, and that's about it. A lot of buildings, a lot of state buildings need maintenance on them. And they don't have the money for it. They absolutely do not have the money. I do want to look at a couple of things here. Mr. Johnson says in here, on the spending side, the governor proposes legislation requiring all 286 school districts, is what I was mentioning before, to join a single health plan with ties to the state employee, saving $47 million in year one and $90 million annually in the following year. Fees on medical providers are increased to create a fund to increase rates to healthcare providers and targeting $20 million of that increase to rural hospitals. You know, again, want to see some more out of it. The two-year budget continues to move the sales tax transfer from the Kansas Department of Transportation to the state general fund, netting $288 million in 2018 and $293 in 2019. And then we talk a little bit about taxes. A lot of the necessities they do not have the money for. The problem with the way that it's being done is they're not building for the future. And that's what we need to always be aware of, is what's going on out there in the future. One last thing I do want to say here is the tax revenues for January for the state of Kansas came in $32 million higher than expected. Yay. You know, that's good, but more is needed. Okay. Well, that's about all I had the time to put together for you for this month. Hopefully next month we'll have some good stuff to discuss and talk about. Hey, we got Lunch and Learns coming up. Get on our website and check those out and find out about them. A lot of good information comes out in those. We had one woman that just talked about cancer, I believe, and what to do and how to go on that. And we've had things about rivers. And so come on out and check them out. Get on our website and find out when they are. That's about all I have. As you can tell, my voice is starting to go again. But for the Slayton County League of Women Voters, this is Mike Troe. See you later.